Turn to business news now with our business editor who's beaming in from Wellington, I think, this week. Are you with us all week, Giles?
I am indeed, John.
We're delighted to hear it. You're going to talk to us about the Reserve Bank, who you've been talking to, and the insurer CBL. Why are we so interested in CBL? What's important about this case?
Well, I think this one, it throws up several issues. First of all, it throws into stark relief the light hand of supervision that we have about New Zealand financial markets. That generally speaking, the regulators are not proactive, they are not preemptive, they do not wield a big stick, that they tend to let the companies look after themselves and then they cast an eye over them to see that they're dotting the I's and crossing the T's as the rule books say they should. In this particular instance, CBL Insurance, which is one part of the CBL corporate group, is likely, I think, to be one of the, let me choose my words carefully, it has the potential to be one of the bigger corporate failures in recent times in this country. And some of the losses may be quite significant. It is quite clear that the Reserve Bank, which is the supervisor of the insurance sector, was well aware and concerned about CBL's difficulties, stretching back as much as 2 years. Now, they were beating us off for a while, and shall we say fending us off rather than beating us off. I had a long interview and discussion with Jeff Baskand, who is the Reserve Bank's Deputy Governor, who looks after the financial stability of our system. He said that there was nothing that the Reserve Bank could have done any earlier to intercede and to perhaps prevent or minimize the financial mess that is likely to unfold because of a variety of things. First of all, the company disputed the Reserve Bank's concerns. It wasn't willing to perhaps be as cooperative with the Reserve Bank as it should have been. The Reserve Bank was forced then to bring out and start its own investigation. And I put it to Mr. Baskand that essentially the year or more that the Reserve Bank was worrying, fretting and inquiring into CBL, the situation has got worse for policyholders, for shareholders and for investors involved in that. To which he replied quite strongly that no, there was nothing that the Reserve Bank could have done until, and this was the game breaker for them, until the company directors purposefully defied a Reserve Bank instruction not to send money overseas. At that stage, the Reserve Bank moved to put the company into interim liquidation, and that's only just a few weeks ago. So a lot of questions are to be asked about this. I give the Reserve Bank credit for finally putting somebody up to talk to us. They're not apologetic. They don't see that they necessarily have acted wrongly. I came away with the clear impression that executives and directors of CBL Insurance and possibly of the broader parent group may well face action in the future. We'll wait to see on that one. But I have to say that I regard this as probably one of the more serious failures of supervision in the New Zealand financial sector for quite some time. And that's going back to when we had finance companies falling over left, right and centre a decade ago.
Yeah, thanks, Giles. Nicely explained. Just before we move on to the markets, Briscoe's another record profit. Did they another one?
This is the company you can't keep down. Rod Duke, the irrepressible leader of Briscoe's, he seems to have the Midas touch. They have 8 consecutive record profits, annual record profits. This one, $61.3 million. It's only up a few percent. And that's probably an interesting one because in the past they happily were recording double-digit growth. For the time being, they're fairly happy. I think they're finding things are just that little bit much tougher. We're not seeing, from their point of view, we're not seeing the impact of Amazon, which has set up shop in Australia. But clearly, I think they're girding their loins for it. But they seem to have some plans up their sleeves for expansion into Australia and also further homes, wares and sports stores around New Zealand. But for the time being, I think they remain the top of the retailing pack in New Zealand.
Thanks, Charles. What did the markets do today? I haven't caught up with them at all.
It was a stonking good day for the share market today, up 62 points. That's about 0.7%. 8452 for the top 50. That's just nearly 20 points off a record high. So if it has another day like this tomorrow, we'll be talking about records. For the currency, 73.2 US cents and 93 Australian.
Charles Beckford, our business editor, thank you very much indeed.